Welcome. You are listening to Sleepy Historian. Settle where you are. Let your shoulders lower slightly. Let your breathing slow, without effort. There is nothing you need to remember, nothing you need to stay awake for. If sleep comes, it is welcome. If attention drifts, that is expected. The story will continue at its own pace. Tonight, you're not here for great speeches, famous philosophers, or marble statues gleaming in the sun. Most people imagine everyday life in ancient Athens as orderly, thoughtful, even comfortable, a place of calm discussion, balanced routines, and refined living. In reality, daily life was slow, crowded, physically tiring, and quietly exhausting. Comfort was limited. Privacy was rare. Much of the day was spent standing, waiting, carrying, or enduring minor discomforts that never fully disappeared. This is the Athens we will spend time in together. Not the Athens of ideals, but the Athens of ordinary mornings and long afternoons. The Athens of routine, of fatigue, of repetition that did not feel temporary but permanent. As you listen, you may notice that nothing dramatic happens quickly. That is intentional. Life here did not move in sharp moments. It unfolded gradually, with sameness stretching across days, weeks, and years. If you enjoy this kind of calm, slow history, you may consider liking the video, subscribing, or leaving a quiet comment later. There is no rush. For now, just listen. Imagine the city before it is fully awake. Not silent. Athens is rarely silent, but softer. Sounds carry through narrow streets. Footsteps on stone. Voices already rising somewhere beyond the walls. Animals shifting in enclosed spaces. The air is cool for a short time, though it will not remain so for long. You wake where you sleep, often in the same room as others. Space is limited. Walls are close. The ground beneath you is firm. Bedding is simple, thin, and adjusted nightly rather than replaced or improved. Sleep does not always restore fully. It pauses the body more than it refreshes it. There is no gentle morning routine. No private preparation. The day begins because light arrives, not because you feel ready. You sit up slowly. Muscles feel stiff, not injured, just accustomed to work. The body already remembers what it will be asked to do again today. That memory lives in the shoulders, the lower back, the legs. Around you, others are already moving. There is no separation between your waking and theirs. Someone reaches for water. Someone adjusts clothing. Someone else steps outside before fully awake. Privacy, as it is understood now, does not exist here. Life happens close, within earshot, within arm's reach. This closeness is not hostile, but it is not gentle either. It is simply normal. The city itself feels dense. Buildings press against each other. Light enters homes indirectly, filtered through courtyards and narrow openings. Air moves slowly. Heat, later in the day, will linger. Most people assume Athens was clean, orderly, and calm, shaped by reason and balance. Daily reality was far more physical. Dust settled everywhere. Water had to be carried. Waste had to be managed by routine rather than systems. Cleanliness was an effort repeated daily, not a stable condition. You dress simply. Clothing is functional, not tailored for comfort. Fabric protects, but does not insulate perfectly. Sandals separate the feet from the ground, but only barely. Stone streets are unforgiving. You feel them through each step. As you step outside, the city is already in motion. Not hurried, but persistent. People move with purpose, carrying tools, baskets, vessels. No one walks without reason. Movement costs energy, and energy must be used carefully. There is no clear division between personal time and work. Tasks are not scheduled neatly. They emerge as needs. Fetch water. Prepare food. Open a workspace. Assist a household member. Each task blends into the next. Time is not measured precisely. There are no clocks marking minutes. The sun determines pace. Shadows indicate progress. Fatigue becomes its own measure of hours passed. This is one of the quiet truths of Athenian life. Days felt long not because of drama, but because of repetition. As the sun rises higher, heat begins to settle into the stone. It does not overwhelm at once. It accumulates. By late morning, it presses against skin and fabric. Shade offers relief, but not coolness. Air becomes heavy, slow to move. You adapt, not by avoiding discomfort, but by accepting it. Athens is alive with voices. Conversations overlap. Instructions are given. Questions are asked, and sometimes left unanswered. The soundscape is constant, uneven, never fully quiet. Yet for all this activity, much of daily life involves waiting. Waiting for water, waiting for goods, waiting for someone else to finish a task, so you may begin yours. Standing is common. Sitting is less so. Rest happens in small increments, not extended periods. Many modern listeners imagine Athenians spending long hours debating philosophy. In reality, most people were occupied with maintaining the basics of life. Intellectual activity existed, but it rested on a foundation of physical labor performed by many who would never speak publicly or be remembered. You notice this as you move through the city. Work is visible everywhere. Hands are busy. Bodies bend, lift, carry, and repeat. The rhythm is steady, not frantic. There is no sense of finishing, only of continuing. Even leisure, when it occurs, is not effortless. It requires preparation, permission, and timing. For many, it is brief and secondary to necessity. As the day unfolds, you begin to understand that survival here is not dramatic. It is quiet. It is persistent. It asks for attention rather than bravery. Fatigue does not arrive suddenly. It accumulates, settling into the body as background weight. People do not comment on it often. It is assumed. This is the tone of daily life in ancient Athens. Not grand, not comfortable, not chaotic either. Just steady, physical, and unending. As you listen, you may find your own breathing slowing. That is natural. The pace here is unhurried. The repetition is intentional. There will be no sudden turns. We will move through the city slowly. Through homes, streets, markets, and evenings. We will notice what is missing as much as what is present. Small comforts that do not exist yet. Routines that feel heavier than expected. For now, remain here in the early hours. The day has only begun, and there is no need to move ahead quickly. Morning in ancient Athens does not arrive with ceremony. There is no clear boundary between night and day, only a gradual shift in light. The sky brightens quietly. Shadows shorten. Sound become more frequent, but not louder all at once. You wake because others wake. Someone nearby moves first. Fabric shifts. A door opens and closes without urgency. The smell of last night's fire lingers faintly in the air. Ashes settled. It will need to be cleared before anything new can be prepared. Most homes are built around a small courtyard. Light enters from above, not from wide windows. This keeps heat manageable later, but it also means mornings are dim. You adjust your eyes slowly. There is no rush to stand immediately. Sleep has not erased fatigue. It has only paused it. People often imagine Athenians beginning the day refreshed, ready for thought and conversation. In reality, the body wakes already carrying yesterday's effort. Muscles feel familiar in their heaviness. This sensation is not discussed. It is expected. You rise carefully. The floor beneath your feet is cool, uneven. There is no soft surface to step onto. Shoes or sandals are simple and worn. Many people wait until stepping outside to put them on, conserving material as much as possible. Water is needed early. Faces are rinsed. Hands are cleaned. This water has been carried already, likely yesterday, stored carefully. Each use is measured. There is no abundance. Cleanliness depends on restraint rather than supply. Breakfast, if it happens now, is minimal. Bread from the previous day. Olives. Perhaps a small portion of fruit. Meals are not events. They are interruptions between tasks. Conversation is brief. Words serve purpose. Instructions, reminders, small exchanges. Silence is common, but not uncomfortable. It simply fills the space between movements. Children are present, always nearby. They observe, assist, or wait. There is little separation between adult and child space. Learning happens by watching, not by explanation. Outside, The street continues its slow awakening. Vendors prepare stalls. Animals are guided into position. The sound of metal on stone appears occasionally, tools being set down, adjusted, lifted again. There is no clear sense of beginning work because work never truly stops. The morning only marks a shift from rest into motion. One quiet truth becomes clear early in the day. Most Athenian lives were shaped less by ideas and more by endurance. People adapt their pace to heat before it arrives. Tasks requiring strength are done earlier. Shade is noted mentally, where it falls, how long it lasts. These are not conscious strategies. They are habits learned over time. As the sun climbs higher, the city fills more completely. The narrow streets feel tighter. Voices overlap. Movement becomes slower, not faster, as bodies adjust to limited space. You're not moving toward anything dramatic. You're moving through routine. This sameness is not boring to those who live it. It is stabilizing, predictable. The day does not promise surprise, only continuation. And for many, that is enough. The need for water returns again and again throughout the morning. It is not something finished quickly and forgotten. It shapes the order of tasks, the timing of movement, and the patience of the household. Water is carried, not summoned. It arrives slowly, one container at a time. You step outside with a vessel balanced carefully in your hands. Clay jars are sturdy, but they chip easily. A crack means loss. Loss means effort repeated. You walk with attention, not haste. The street is already awake now. People pass in both directions, many carrying similar vessels. This movement has rhythm. There is no conversation required to coordinate it. Everyone knows where they are going. Public fountains and wells are shared spaces. Waiting is normal. You stand quietly, shifting your weight, adjusting your grip. The stone beneath your feet is worn smooth from centuries of use. Others have stood exactly where you stand now. Water is drawn slowly. There is no splashing. Carelessness wastes energy. Once filled, the vessel is heavier than expected. The walk back feels longer. This routine alone reminds you that comfort is not guaranteed. Modern life assumes clean water nearby, available without thought. In Athens, water defines effort. Every use has a cost measured in time and strength. Back home, bread becomes central. Grain has been harvested, stored, ground. Each step happened earlier, slowly, often by hand. The loaf you eat now carries yesterday's labor inside it. There is no softness. Bread is dense, sometimes dry. It must be dipped or chewed patiently. Olives add flavor and salt. Cheese appears occasionally, depending on means. Nothing is wasted. Portions are modest, not because of restraint, but because supply demands it. Eating is done standing or sitting on simple stools. There is no table set for comfort. The body bends slightly forward. Knees and backs adjust. This posture becomes familiar over time. Children eat what adults eat. There is no separate food prepared for them. They learn early to accept texture and repetition. As the morning continues, tasks divide. Some leave the home for workshops or fields. Others remain to manage domestic work. Cleaning is constant. Dust returns quickly. Ash must be removed. Tools are checked, repaired, repositioned. You notice how little privacy exists. Walls are thin. Courtyards open upward. Sound travels easily. Lives overlap naturally, without permission. This closeness is often imagined as communal warmth. In reality, it is simply unavoidable. Solitude is rare. Silence is shared. Clothing is adjusted as the sun strengthens. Fabric is practical, not decorative. It allows movement and airflow, but offers limited protection. Sweat appears early. No one comments on it. Time passes without clocks. The sun's position becomes reference enough. Shadows shorten. Heat settles gently, but persistently. There is no sense of urgency to finish everything. Tasks flow into one another. If something remains undone, it will wait. Athenians understood this well. The day cannot be conquered. It can only be endured. And so you continue, one action following another, not toward reward, but toward completion. As the morning settles, the streets of Athens become fully occupied, though never crowded in the modern sense. Movement is constant but measured. People walk with purpose, yet without hurry. You step carefully, aware of uneven stones beneath your sandals. The streets are narrow, shaped more by habit than by planning. Buildings press close on either side, their walls rough, their angles imperfect. You notice how little space belongs to anyone alone. The street is shared. Voices carry easily. A cough, a greeting, the scrape of a jar against stone. These sounds drift freely, uncontained. The air smells of many things at once. Dust rises with each footstep. Smoke from hearths lingers low. There is the faint scent of animals kept nearby and of food being prepared somewhere out of sight. None of this is unpleasant enough to remark upon. It is simply how the city breathes. Homes open directly onto the street. Doors stand ajar. Curtains are rare. Privacy, as it might be imagined today, does not fully exist here. Life is visible, whether intended or not. You pass neighbors you recognize by habit rather than by name. Familiar faces appear day after day. Recognition does not always lead to conversation. A nod is often enough. Words are saved for later. Children move freely, weaving between adults, carrying small tasks on their shoulders. They're sent on errands early, learning routes before they learn letters. Their movements are quick, but never reckless. The street teaches caution without instruction. Shops and workshops line the way. A potter shapes clay with steady hands. A metalworker pauses to adjust a tool. These spaces are open, not separated from the street. Work happens in view of everyone. Modern assumptions often picture ancient cities as orderly, symmetrical, and grand. In truth, Athens is irregular. Buildings lean slightly. Repairs are visible. Nothing is polished for appearance alone. The city functions not because it is well designed, but because its people adapt to its shape. You notice how shade becomes valuable. People walk close to walls, using their shadows. The sun climbs higher, pressing warmth into stone and skin alike. There is no complaint. Heat is expected, like the passing of time. Occasionally, a cart moves slowly through, requiring others to step aside. There is patience here, born of necessity. Forcing one's way gains little. As you walk, the Acropolis remains present, rising above the city. It is visible from many places, a steady reminder of shared belief and labor. Yet for most people, it is background, not focus. Daily survival does not pause for monuments. The streets curve and narrow unexpectedly. You learn them through repetition, not maps. Your feet, remember, turns your mind, no longer considers. This repetition is not dull to those who live it. It is stabilizing. Familiar paths reduce effort. They allow thought to drift elsewhere. You become aware of fatigue, not as pain, but as weight. A subtle heaviness settles in the legs. It does not stop movement. It accompanies it. By mid-morning, the city hums softly, not loudly, not urgently, just enough to remind you that life continues, task by task, step by step. Athens does not rush you forward. It allows you to move at the pace endurance requires. And so you continue, carried by routine, shaped by stone, and surrounded by lives moving quietly alongside your own. Work in Athens begins without ceremony. There is no clear moment when leisure ends and labor begins. The transition happens quietly, almost without notice. You simply continue moving, and the movement becomes work. For many, labor starts early and stretches long, not because of ambition, but because stopping is rarely an option. Food, shelter, and stability depend on repetition. What was done yesterday must be done again today. You take your place where you are expected. If you work with your hands, they're already marked. Calluses form quickly and remain. Small cuts heal slowly. Dirt settles into the skin and does not fully leave. Water cleans, but only so much. Tools are simple. They require care. A broken handle or dull edge slows everything. You check them often, not out of pride, but because replacement is difficult. The body adapts to the rhythm. Muscles learn patterns. Movements repeat until they no longer require thought. This is not efficiency in the modern sense. It is endurance. Many imagine ancient Athenians spending their days debating ideas or attending public gatherings. For most, this is incorrect. Time is consumed by necessity. Thought happens while working, not instead of it. You notice how silence settles during labor. Conversation would distract. Breath becomes measured. The sound of scraping, turning, lifting fills the space instead. The sun rises higher. Heat presses downward. Shade is used when possible, but work does not stop. Sweat darkens fabric. There is no change of clothes waiting later. If you work outdoors, the ground is unforgiving. Knees ache. Feet feel every stone. If you work indoors, air grows heavy. Smoke lingers. Light is uneven. There is no concept of an 8-hour day. Tasks define time, not hours. When one is finished, another waits. Food breaks are brief. Bread again. Water again. Eating restores just enough strength to continue. Satisfaction is not the goal. Fatigue arrives slowly. It settles into joints, into the lower back, into the neck. You do not fight it. You work alongside it. Expectation often paints ancient labor as harsh but heroic. In reality, it is quiet, repetitive, and uncelebrated. No one watches. No one records your effort. Yet the city depends on it. As you continue, you become aware of how much of life is spent maintaining what already exists. Repairing, cleaning, rebuilding. Progress is rare. Stability is the achievement. By midday, the body feels used but not finished. There's still more to do. There's always more to do. You adjust your stance, shift your weight, and continue. Because stopping does not improve tomorrow. Only continuing does. As the day advances, movement shifts toward the places where exchange happens. The market does not begin suddenly. It is already there, forming gradually as people arrive with goods carried by hand or balanced across shoulders. You feel the change in the air before you see it. The sound grows thicker. Footsteps overlap. Voices settle into a low, continuous murmur. You walk more slowly here. Space is tighter. Baskets sit on the ground. Animals stand tethered nearby, patient and unmoving. You adjust your path to avoid them, stepping carefully so as not to spill what you carry. The market is practical. It is not designed for comfort or display. Goods are laid out simply. Nothing is hidden behind glass. What you see is what exists. Food dominates most stalls. Grain, dried fish, olives, vegetables brought in from nearby fields. Freshness is limited. Preservation matters more than appearance. Smell becomes a guide. Your nose learns to judge quality faster than your eyes. Prices are spoken, not written. They change slightly from day to day, depending on supply and weather. There is negotiation, but it is restrained. Everyone understands the narrow margin between enough and not enough. You count carefully. Coins are few. Many transactions involve exchange rather than payment. What you bring matters as much as what you want. Carrying too much draws attention. Carrying too little limits choice. Modern assumptions often imagine ancient markets as lively and social. In reality, they're focused. Conversation stays brief. Lingering wastes energy. People want to finish and return to work. The sun stands higher now. Shade is scarce. You feel warmth pressing at the back of your neck. Dust clings to skin damp with sweat. You wipe your hands against your clothing without much effect. The cost of living reveals itself quietly. You notice how often people hesitate before purchasing. How hand pause over goods, then withdraw. Decisions are measured. A mistake today affects tomorrow's meal. Luxury exists, but for few. Most items are functional. Decorative objects appear rarely and usually small. Beauty is present, but restrained by necessity. You wait again. Waiting becomes a familiar companion. Lines form and dissolve. Patience is learned early. There is no alternative. Carrying purchases back requires balance and care. Weight shifts with each step. Straps bite into the shoulder. Hands grow numb. By the time you leave, energy has already been spent. Yet the day is not halfway done. You realize that survival here depends less on earning more and more on wasting less. Every movement, every purchase, every bite is considered. The market does not promise abundance. It offers continuity, and that, for most Athenians, is enough to return again tomorrow. As work continues through the day, there are people you see often, yet rarely notice in full. They move quietly. They work steadily. Their presence is constant, but their recognition is limited. Slavery in Athens is woven into daily life so tightly that it often goes unspoken. You do not hear long explanations. You learn by observation. Certain people perform certain tasks, day after day, without pause or choice. They rise early, often earlier than anyone else in the household. Before the sun fully appears, they are already awake, preparing water, tending fires, cleaning spaces that will soon be used again. You pass them in the streets, carrying loads heavier than their frames suggest. Their posture tells a story of long familiarity with weight. Backs bend slightly forward. Shoulders slope inward. Movement is careful, practiced. Modern assumptions sometimes imagine slavery as brutal spectacle. In Athens, it is usually quieter than that. Control comes through routine, not constant force. Expectations are clear. Deviation is rare, because the cost of error is known. This does not make the system gentle. It makes it efficient. You notice that slaves often work alongside free citizens, performing similar tasks. The difference lies not in the labor itself, but in its ownership. One person's work belongs to them. The other's does not. Status is visible in small ways. Who speaks first? Who steps aside? Who carries tools? And who carries instructions? Meals are taken differently. Slaves eat later or separately. Portions may be smaller. Food quality varies. Hunger becomes familiar, but not dramatic. It lingers quietly like fatigue. Clothing marks difference as well. Simple garments, often worn thin. Repairs show plainly. There is little expectation of replacement. Despite this, slaves are essential. Homes, workshops, and farms rely on their endurance. Without them, daily life slows or stops. Yet acknowledgement is minimal. You may work beside someone for years without knowing their thoughts. Their inner life remains their own, rarely recorded, rarely asked for. Expectation-breaking truth settles here. The celebrated democracy of Athens rests on unfree labor. This fact is not debated in daily conversation. It is accepted as natural as the rising sun. Questioning it does not feed anyone. As afternoon approaches, the work of slaves does not lessen. Fatigue accumulates, but duties remain. Fires need tending. Water needs carrying. Floors gather dust again. They adjust, as everyone does. Survival in Athens is layered. Some endure by choice. Others endure because there is no alternative. The city continues balanced on this quiet division. And as the day stretches onward, the labor that sustains everything remains mostly unseen, even as it never truly stops. As midday passes, the body reminds you of its needs. Food becomes a quiet focus, not indulgent, not pleasant in a modern sense. Necessary. Most Athenians eat simply. Bread, olives, sometimes dried fish or cheese. Meals are small and functional. Modern assumptions imagine variety and abundance. Reality is restraint, repetition, and careful allocation. You sit briefly to eat, adjusting to the hardness of the stool beneath you. Legs shift. The posture is familiar by now. Fatigue settles in, a quiet companion rather than an annoyance. Bread is dense. Chewing is deliberate. Water follows, measured in small sips. The act of eating consumes more time than it might appear. Each motion is careful. Spilling or wasting is undesirable. Eating is often solitary or shared only with immediate household members. Conversations are minimal. The body's needs take precedence over speech. Silence accompanies the ritual. Children eat what is available. They learn early to accept simplicity. Flavor is secondary. Nutrition is primary. Hunger is expected, moderated by portion rather than quantity. Meals do not restore fully. They sustain. They pause fatigue slightly, but the body carries weight still. Arms, back, legs, all remember the morning's tasks. Preparation for meals is labor itself. Grain is ground. Fires are tended. Utensils are cleaned. Leftovers are saved and managed carefully. Nothing is wasted. The midday sun presses down through narrow streets, reflecting off stone. Shadows retreat. Heat clings to the body. Eating is adjusted accordingly. Shade is sought. Clothing is shifted. Fabric becomes damp with sweat. The air feels heavier. Expectation-breaking truth emerges quietly. Food is rarely pleasurable. It is functional, repetitive, and subtly exhausting to obtain. Even in small meals, the rhythm of survival is present. Each bite is earned. Each swallow is conscious. You notice, with a calm awareness, the slow accumulation of fatigue, even as you nourish yourself. After eating, there is no long pause. Tasks resume, shifted slightly by fullness and warmth. Standing, bending, moving, all continue. Fatigue lingers, wrapping around each motion. The body adapts slowly. Hunger returns predictably. Fatigue deepens gradually. Days feel long because effort is unrelenting, but without spectacle. Time is measured by these cycles: preparation, consumption, work, pause, rather than by clocks or bells. You learn it naturally. Awareness grows from repetition. Even the most ordinary meal becomes a moment of reflection, not because of choice, but because the stillness after action invites it. You notice how little modern comfort exists. There's no soft chair, no table set with care, no endless supply. Food is sparse, effortful, and functional. Yet it is sufficient, carried through habit and endurance. And so the day continues. Small meals, small movements, a slow rhythm that fills hours without urgency. You move with it step by step, bite by bite, enduring, observing, continuing. The sun climbs steadily, and with it comes awareness of the body's limits. Clothing is simple. Tunics, short or long, drape over the body with little adjustment. Fabric is thin, functional. Sandals protect feet from rough stone, but not from fatigue or strain. You notice every pebble beneath your soles. Every slope in the street is felt in the legs. Weather shapes the day quietly. Heat presses down through stone streets, lingering in courtyards. Shade is sought where possible, but its availability is uneven. Sweat collects at the back of the neck, along the spine, in folds of fabric. You wipe your hands, your forehead, your arms. The motion repeats, almost unconsciously. Cold arrives gradually in early morning or late afternoon. Breath becomes visible in shaded corners. Fingers stiffen slightly. You adjust posture, rub hands together, and shift weight. Comfort is fleeting. Adaptation is constant. Modern listeners often imagine ancient clothing as protective or decorative. In truth, it serves the body barely enough. Comfort is secondary to function. Movement must be adjusted to what you wear, and the body remembers where fabric binds, rubs, or sags. Movement through the city reflects these conditions. Streets slope, cobbles shift underfoot, crowds press gently. Every step is an awareness of balance, a negotiation with the body and its coverings. Heat, cold, sweat, and dust combine into a persistent, quiet pressure. You notice it in every joint. Tasks continue regardless. Work waits for no weather. Water must be carried. Food must be prepared. Cleaning persists. Each action carries the subtle weight of temperature and fabric, absorbed slowly into muscle memory. Seating is rare and hard. When you pause, you feel stone or hardwood beneath you. Comfort is measured not by softness, but by the ability to endure sitting at all. A small rest becomes a temporary reprieve, not a lasting relief. Expectation-breaking truth emerges gently. Daily life in Athens involves constant negotiation with the body, the environment, and simple clothing. There is no insulation from fatigue, no pause for ease. Survival requires attention, repetition, and patience. By mid-afternoon, the combination of labor, sun, and fabric weighs steadily. Fatigue is noticeable but not alarming. It is accepted as normal. You adjust movements to conserve energy. You notice breath, posture, and the subtle feedback of muscles. Each moment extends into the next, indistinguishable from the previous. Evening will arrive slowly, marked more by light fading than by any internal signal. Until then, the body continues its rhythm: movement, pause, adjustment, endurance. And through all of it, you walk, lift, bend, reach, aware of each sensation, each repetitive task, each small challenge that defines survival without spectacle. Athens does not rush you. It allows, it requires, it contains. You move slowly within it, and it moves slowly around you. As the afternoon continues, the body's endurance becomes more noticeable. Fatigue accumulates slowly. You feel it in joints, in muscles, in the spine. It is not sudden or dramatic. It is persistent, a soft pressure that colors each movement. The energy required for simple tasks seems slightly heavier than it did hours earlier. Most Athenians adjust naturally. Movement slows imperceptibly. Hands linger longer over work. Steps are measured. Posture shifts to reduce strain. You notice these changes in yourself as well, observing how repetition and heat combine. Health is fragile, yet unspoken. Minor ailments are absorbed into daily life. A cut, a bruise, or a stiff joint does not stop a person. It is accommodated. Work continues. Tasks are performed around pain, not because it is ignored, but because pause is costly. Children, too, experience fatigue. Their small bodies bend and lift. They move quickly at times, but learn early how to conserve energy. They mirror adults, slowly internalizing the rhythms of labor and endurance. Older Athenians carry visible signs of time. Hands are rough, hair grays, shoulders stoop. They walk carefully, calculating each step. Still, they participate in the day's routine. Knowledge of body and task allows them to persist. Modern listeners might assume that physical comfort was common. In reality, it is fleeting. Every moment requires small adjustments: clothing, posture, breathing, grip. Adaptation is constant. Survival is quiet. You may notice the subtle strategies people use: leaning on walls, resting on a low stool, shifting weight from foot to foot, adjusting sandals, covering the head with a fold of fabric. Each motion prolongs endurance, reduces strain, and allows the day to continue. Fatigue is a teacher here, not an enemy. It dictates pace, signals limits, and shapes choice. It is quiet, unremarkable, yet ever-present. Care is taken with minor injuries. Wash water is warmed or carried carefully. Bandages or wrappings are used when available. Nothing is dramatic. Attention is steady, methodical, measured. Time continues its slow passage. Shadows lengthen. The sun moves steadily toward its descent. Work continues, but the pace eases with the light. Bodies adjust. Movements repeat. Fatigue remains, but it blends into the rhythm of the day. Health and endurance shape life, more than ambition or comfort. Life is measured by continuity, not excitement. Every day survived is a quiet achievement. Every repeated task is a small testament to adaptation. Evening will eventually arrive, signaling the day's gradual transition. Until then, the body continues its subtle negotiation with the environment, work, and the unavoidable passage of hours. You listening may notice your own body shifting slightly in sympathy. The awareness of slow fatigue, repeated effort, and quiet persistence connects you to those who lived in Athens long ago. Life is steady, persistent, and measured. It asks nothing sudden, requires nothing dramatic. It endures quietly as you do with it. As the sun tilts toward the horizon, the day's rhythm shifts imperceptibly. The streets of Athens grow quieter, though not empty. Movement slows naturally. Work winds down, not because it is complete, but because light and body signal a new rhythm. You notice the subtle changes immediately. Shadows lengthen. Stone cools underfoot. The air softens. Sweat dries, replaced by the lingering warmth of the sun. The body feels heavier, aware of hours already endured. Preparation for evening begins slowly. Fires are tended. Water is carried one last time. Utensils and tools are cleaned and set aside. Meals are prepared for later, simple, functional, a quiet repetition of what has already been done. You move through familiar spaces. Courtyards echo softly with footfalls. Doors close gently, not for privacy, but to contain warmth or smoke. Children are guided back, gently encouraged to settle. Their small movements are already fatigued, mirroring the adults around them. Clothing is adjusted again. Fabric shifts for comfort. Sandals are removed if possible. Dust and sweat remain, but the body accommodates. Movement is slower, deliberate, careful. Expectations of comfort are modest. Modern imagination might suggest leisure or relief, but here, evening is functional. Firelight allows tasks to continue. Shadows deepen. The air cools. Posture adjusts. Fatigue remains unspoken, accepted. You observe neighbors performing similar rituals. Quietly, without conversation, doors are closed, fires tended, vessels cleaned. Each household mirrors the other, synchronized by the slow, unremarkable cadence of survival. The Acropolis glows faintly in the evening light, a silent witness. It does not demand attention. It simply exists, as enduring as the day itself. You notice its presence without pause, a constant backdrop to the human rhythm. Noise diminishes. Footsteps, conversation, and animal sounds fade gently. Evening does not arrive with fanfare. It creeps in. The city exhales, settling into the low, continuous hum of routine. You feel the lingering fatigue in every joint. Arms, back, legs, and feet remind you of hours already passed. Each movement carries weight, not dramatically, but persistently. The day has been endured. Tasks continue, but more slowly, measuredly, intentionally. Expectation breaking truth for this moment. Comfort does not arrive suddenly with sunset. Light fades, fatigue persists, and work continues quietly. Evenings are calm, not liberating. You move through it with quiet attention. Each small action, carrying water, adjusting fabric, tending fire, is repeated without need for praise or reward. It is enough to continue, to exist, to endure. Athens at this hour is quiet, persistent, and patient. You move with it, step by step, task by task, as light fades and night prepares to settle. Night falls gradually over Athens. There is no sudden darkness. Shadows lengthen, then merge. The sky softens from deep gold to dusky blue, finally settling into muted twilight. The city exhales, movement slows further. The air cools. Sounds become muffled, distant. Fires provide warmth and light. Their glow is soft, not bright. You sit or stand nearby, adjusting posture to conserve energy. Heat radiates gently. Smoke drifts upward, curling into the night. It smells faintly of wood, ash, and lingering meals. Observation becomes easier, reflection natural. You notice small movements around you. Children settle. Adults pause, lean, or rest. Even the busiest among them perform quiet tasks, adjusting a garment, moving a vessel, straightening tools. Each action is subtle, purposeful, yet unhurried. Expectation is different from reality. Modern imagination suggests evening as relaxation, entertainment, or leisure. In Athens, evening is extension of endurance. Tasks are smaller, lighter, but repetition continues. The body adjusts to heat, smoke, and minor aches. Fatigue is accepted. Comfort arrives gradually, not fully. Walking outside, streets are nearly empty. Few steps echo against stone. A dog or two may wander. The smell of smoke lingers, mixing with dust and faint earthiness. You move slowly, mind noticing every texture beneath feet, every shift in air or light. The night teaches awareness without urgency. Observation is quiet. You may watch neighbors from a distance. They move slowly, shifting firewood, tidying small spaces, performing the last minor tasks. None of this is dramatic, yet it is necessary. Life continues in soft, deliberate patterns. Noise fades completely. Conversations drop. Footsteps become less frequent. The city holds still, alive but muted. Faint wind moves through narrow streets. Fabric brushes gently as people walk. Breath becomes visible in the cool areas. Shadows of people and buildings stretch long. Modern viewers may assume Athens sleeps like we do, all at once, completely. Reality is different. Sleep is gradual, uneven. Some remain awake, tending fires or livestock. Some do not wake until later than others. Life continues quietly, always for someone, sitting or standing near the fire. You may notice your own attention wandering. Eyes drift, thoughts slow, muscles relax into habitual fatigue. This is how Athenians moved through evening, aware, adaptive, patient, enduring. Evening becomes night, not with alarm, but with calm repetition. Every small motion, the tending of a vessel, the shifting of firewood, the pause to observe the city, reinforces the quiet rhythm of survival. Fatigue, shadow, light, and habit combine into a steady cadence. Night does not promise rest immediately. It promises continuity, reflection, and small endurance. Your body aligns with it. Every inhalation and exhalation follows the gentle pulse of the city. The world slows. You slow with it. Athens at night is both familiar and quietly unyielding. You are aware of movement and stillness simultaneously. You notice subtle patterns, faint pressures, the weight of the day in muscles and joints. And so the night begins gentle, steady, unremarkable, yet essential. As darkness deepens, Athens settles into a gentle rhythm of rest. Sleep does not arrive suddenly. It comes gradually in waves like a soft tide flowing over the city. You lie or sit where you can, adjusting posture to reduce strain. The body remembers the day. Fatigue is present, constant, familiar. Every joint, every muscle, every tendinous stretch carries hours of movement. Breathing slows naturally as tension eases, but not all at once. The mind wanders quietly between observation and thought, drifting closer to sleep with each repetition of awareness. Fires burn low, flickering softly. Their light illuminates hands, faces, and worn surfaces, then retreats, leaving shadows that move gently with the sway of heat. Smoke rises slowly, curling upward, blending into the dark sky. It is comforting and slightly unsettling, a reminder of labor and survival that will continue tomorrow. Noise diminishes further. Even in a city, night is mostly silent. Occasional footsteps or distant voices ripple briefly, then vanish. Animals rest. Streets are still. Windows reflect firelight but reveal little movement inside. The quiet is not absolute, but it encourages reflection and calm endurance. Sleep in Athens is uneven. Some rest earlier. Others remain awake, tending small fires, water vessels, or animals. Some do not wake again in the morning. These realities are subtle, not dramatic. They settle into the mind quietly, as observation rather than alarm. The rhythm of life and death continues in soft, persistent cycles. You feel the day's repetition, the water carried, the bread broken, the tasks completed and continued. Fatigue anchors the body, but the mind drifts in gentle waves. Breathing aligns with the quiet pace of the city. Sleep moves in and out. Moments of awareness blend with moments of rest. Hours stretch, unmarked except by subtle changes in temperature, light, and sound. Expectation-breaking moments arrive softly. You notice how little is permanent or guaranteed. A meal may have been meager, water may have been hard to fetch, warmth may be uneven. Yet survival persists day by day. These truths are accepted, embedded in habit, observed without emotion, and carried forward quietly. The body, the city, the routines, they all share a slow endurance. You sense the patience embedded in every movement, every task repeated. There is no reward, only continuity. No sudden change, only passage. Night deepens steadily, as does the calm. Breathing, posture, and awareness align with the soft rhythm of endurance. You feel the quiet presence of the city around you. Time becomes unhurried. Muscles relax gradually. Limbs bend and shift with gentle acknowledgement of wear. Awareness drifts between observing the environment and noticing internal sensations. Sleep, if it comes, does so as a soft extension of these movements. Through it all, life continues, unremarkable and persistent. Every repeated motion, every subtle adjustment, every wave of fatigue and relief is a small testament to human endurance. Athens does not demand heroism. It requires patience, repetition, and quiet attention. And so you rest gently as the city rests with you. Hours pass softly, marked only by changing shadows, faint shifts in air, and the gentle rhythm of breath. Endurance is quiet, patient, and uncelebrated. The night carries you and the city forward, softly, steadily, without rush or alarm. And when the faintest hint of dawn approaches, the cycle begins anew. Night fully settles, and the city of Athens lies in quiet repose. You have traveled through a day as it was lived centuries ago. From the moment the sun rose to its gentle descent, every step, every breath, every small effort has followed a rhythm both unremarkable and profound. Modern life often promises comfort, speed, and constant stimulation. In contrast, Athens offers neither. Here, days are measured not by ambition or entertainment, but by endurance, repetition, and quiet observation. There is no urgency, no dramatic arc, no sudden resolution. There's only the passing of hours, the rising and falling of fatigue, and the steady pattern of survival. You reflect on the simplicity and relentlessness of life here. Food is plain, functional, often repetitive. Clothing serves, but does little to protect fully from heat, cold, or wear. Labor stretches from dawn to dusk, punctuated only by brief pauses and modest meals. The body is a constant companion, its limits always known, its fatigue always present. The city does not apologize for these conditions, nor does it offer luxury. It simply exists, steady, predictable, and unyielding in its continuity. Observation is crucial. You notice small adaptations, the way people shift weight, how they carry water, how fires are tended, how children learn responsibility quietly and steadily. Every gesture is calculated for endurance. Every movement repeats what has been done for years. Expectations are tempered by reality. Comfort is rare. Continuity is everything. The contrast with modern life is subtle but persistent. We imagine ease, choice, and abundance. The Athenians knew only continuity. Yet in this simplicity, there's a form of rhythm and calm. Time is slower, observation sharper, endurance more central. Every small task, repeated endlessly, becomes both survival and meditation. As you listen, perhaps lying in your own bed, the echoes of that slow day may settle alongside your breath. Athens, centuries ago, is quiet, persistent, and patient. Life flows steadily around routine, fatigue, and small achievements. Sleep may come softly now, drifting in and out with the city's rhythm. If you wake briefly, there is no alarm, only continuity, calm, and quiet endurance. Fires dwindle, shadows stretch and merge. The faintest hint of tomorrow's sun rests behind distant horizons. The city sleeps, partially, unevenly, persistently. People rest, adjust, observe. Some rise early, some linger in slumber, some do not wake at all. These truths are quiet, matter of fact, and uncelebrated. And so the day ends as all days did and all nights do. You have witnessed life without embellishment. Life measured by repetition, endurance, and patient observation. The city rests. The fires dim. The streets quiet. You rest alongside it, in awareness, in calm, in gentle alignment with centuries of human persistence. No dramatic conclusion arrives, nor is it needed. There is only the soft, enduring rhythm of life itself. Sleep now, if it comes. Drift slowly through the patterns of human endurance. Know the day has passed. Know the city waits. Know that tomorrow, in quiet, measured rhythm, the cycle begins again.